there was a car that we went around at one point that was stopped right in the middle of the road. And we're like, what are these people doing? Like, we're watching them as we're, getting closer to them. And they get out of their car and start lighting up cigarettes. They're just having a smoke break in the middle of the road. We're like, oh my gosh, like, it's just so different here, right?
Welcome to Jump Podcast. I'm your host, Traveling Jackie, and I'm here to explore travel, adventure, and lifestyle in ways meant to motivate you to move and experience the world outside your comfort zone and to do big, courageous things with your one life. Let this show be a source of advice and inspiration, and remember that in the end, it's you who takes the leap.
Friends, I am trying something totally new today. I actually just got a new travel microphone and it's pretty fancy and I'm testing it out. I'm actually in Albania right now. It is May of 2025 and I am on a trip through Albania on a road trip. And I decided I would test out this mic and maybe just bring you an episode from a balcony in Albania. So pull up a chair. I have a chair pulled up next to me just for you. It's metal with a wicker seat and a little green cushion on it. And it's on a balcony at a guest house overlooking Himare, Albania, which is a little beach town, not unlike the Amalfi Coast in Italy. So if you can imagine dramatic mountains, massive dramatic mountains stretching down to the sparkling Mediterranean Sea, where a small, colorful beach town is nestled in a cove. And between me and the town, there are olive trees and vineyards sloping down the mountain towards the town. That's pretty much what it looks like here. There's lots of flowers in bloom. It's springtime. It is warm. It's like 75 and sunny. And I'll try to put a picture of it in the show notes so you can imagine yourself right here next to me. Oh, and bring a snack, bring a glass of wine. We just picked up some Albanian Cabernet, which is spelled with a K here. It's not the best wine I've had in Albania so far, but it'll do for today's episode. So yeah, grab a snack, BYOB, pull up your chair, settle in. The sun is shining, the birds are singing. I can hear goat bells around. There are lots of goats around here. Occasionally I can hear a donkey braying somewhere down below. It's absolutely gorgeous. This particular guest house that I'm staying at has its own, I would call it a vineyard, except the vines are growing up like the patio coverings. And so it ends up looking like just grapevines are the roof of like the restaurant that's right here on site down below. And it's actually that same roof is right off of this balcony. And so I can see like vines shooting up right in front of me. It's so, so pretty. And there are giant bumblebees and we are facing west. So we're looking towards where the sun is going to set in a few hours. And if we took a boat in that direction a little ways, we'd run into Italy. In this guest house, I have my own room, private balcony, private bathroom. Breakfast is included. There's the restaurant here is farm to table. Pretty much everything in Albania is farm to table. And at the end of this episode, I'm going to share how much I'm paying for this place, along with a bunch of other details. But
we're so grateful to Oboz Footwear and Osprey Packs for partnering with us and supporting the podcast. So please stay tuned for more about them later on.
Yeah, my thought today was just to sort of bring you guys into this trip of mine. I'm spending about a week, just 8 days or so, 7 days, something like that. 7 nights. So 8 days in Albania, Southern Albania in the mountains. So I'm going to share why I'm here, where we went, because we're heading back to Greece tomorrow. I'm here just with one of my friends and we rented a car. So I'm going to share with you kind of our itinerary, like where we went. And then there's definitely some stories I want to share, including why we called the police. Yeah. And like what we did and the people that we met, the people here have been incredible. And just my impressions of this gorgeous country. And like I said, at the end, I will share kind of almost like a list with you just of prices and details of the places that we stayed and ate. So I've been to Albania before, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, but the opposite end of the country. I was in Macedonia, which is now called North Macedonia, and we were on Lake Ohrid, which is partly in Albania and partly in North Macedonia. And so while we were staying on the Macedonia side of the lake, we went over to Pogradec, which is a town on the lake there. And we walked around for a few hours and we had lunch and kind of just like spent half of a day in that tiny little corner of Albania 11 years ago. But this is the first time that I've actually spent any time here and explored. And oh man, this place is so cool. I'm very excited to share with you just what I've experienced and who we've met along the way and what we've done. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get to it. This is a very kind of a interesting corner of the world to reach. So Albania is right next to Greece. So it's on the Balkan Peninsula, and it's like the southwestern part of the Balkan Peninsula. So north of us now is Montenegro, Croatia, Serbia, Bosnia, all of that's north. And then Greece is like all to the east and to the south. And we actually flew into Corfu, which is one of the bigger islands in Western Greece. And we flew through London to get to Corfu. And then we took a ferry. We stayed on Corfu for a couple of nights. And then we took a ferry from Corfu right over here to Sarande. By the way, I'm not sure about the pronunciation of all of the towns and places that I'm going to be sharing today. So I apologize in advance for anything that I might get wrong there. But the ferry was super easy. We bought tickets online and it was like a 30-minute passenger ferry, just a boat over to Albania. We did customs right there in the port. So it was super simple to get here. I mean, yes, it took, a flight overseas and then through London and down to Corfu and then on a boat. So it's not simple, but it is easy. Or I should say maybe it's not easy, but it is simple. It's just like one thing after another. You just have to go through the steps to get here. But once we got here, we rented a car. And so Sarande is like very, very southern tip of Albania. And down there on the very, very southern tip is a place called Butrint, which is it's been multiple things over the years, but essentially now you can go see ruins of amphitheaters and castles, and it's a national monument. I think it's a national park now. And so we started by driving down that way, and actually we picked up our rental car, and I do want to share this story because we had a problem almost immediately with the rental car, and it told us that one of our tires was losing pressure. And so we got out to check it, and it kind of looked like it was going a little flat, which is a little scary. We were already probably 30 minutes away from the rental car place, but there just happened to be like a tire shop, like a mechanic right there. And so we pulled in. I mean, we're on this random road. There's like dots of civilization on the way, and okay, this car mechanic place just shows up like right when we need it. So we pulled in there, and we met a very nice man. Essentially the first person in Albania besides the guy at the rental car, which we rented our car from Enterprise, which, I mean, whatever, it's Enterprise. This guy's name at the car mechanic place was Dionys, and he was so nice. He was like, oh, rental cars, this happens, and just pull it right in. And he checked all of the air in all of our tires and pumped it back up. And he was so nice. He even spoke English, which we were really grateful for, because not everyone speaks English here. Definitely not. And so there's been a lot of communication via body language. But Dionys set us up. He pumped up our tires, sent us on our way, and luckily we didn't have any more issues with the tire, which was really great. And that was a really nice, first experience with one of the locals, just a really kind man. We didn't have any money at the time. We hadn't gone to the ATM yet, so we had nothing but euros with us. And we tried to tip him, and he was like, oh, no. Like, nope. Okay. All right. Thank you then. We were on our way, went to Butrint, and then our plan was to go to the Blue Eye. So this is cool. You guys should look this up if you get a chance. There's a place in Albania called the Blue Eye, and it's a natural spring in the mountains. It's like in the middle of nowhere, but it was kind of on our way to our first destination was a place called Gjirokastër, which I hope I'm getting that right. There's lots of consonants and a GJ happening in there, and I'm pretty sure it's Gjirokastër. But anyway, so on the way there, we stopped at the Blue Eye, and it is so worth a stop. There's like a parking area, and we parked and we had to pay a little bit. I mean, a little bit is like, it was a couple bucks to get in, and then we walked up the road. You can actually take like it's funny. It looks like a little kid train trolley thing that you can take if you don't want to walk. But we walked the 1.5 miles up the road, and then you get to this river where there's just this gorgeous blue. I mean, it's like a deep blue that just is coming straight out of the earth. And it's like a river, but it starts right there. And so it creates a river, but like it comes from, this is basically like this pool. It looks like it could be a swimming hole, except there's a current so strong that they close it to swimming because it's, they're protecting it. And they built a little platform so you can look at it. But it's this gorgeous blue, like bubbling water that's just coming out of the earth and creating this incredibly gorgeous river. And of course, they had a little cafe built just down the way a little bit. So we stopped and had a glass of wine there and explored a little bit. And it was just that day, I mean, it was sunny and beautiful. And we had a really nice, couple of walks between Butrint and Blue Eye. It was just a really nice kind of welcome to the nature of Albania. And then we continued driving over a pass. So Albania, there's one thing we've learned about this country. I don't think there's a flat surface in this whole country. It is not flat. It is super, super mountainous. And we have driven some really totally sketchy mountain roads, but I mean, they're safe. I don't know. We made it through. But we drove a crazy mountain road that first day to get into the valley where Gjirokastër is. And the other thing that happens to be in that valley, in the middle of nowhere, there's a sign that's just like, oh, this is this way, 400 meters. It's Hadrianopolis, which is an ancient, another ancient ruined city. We drove out there. It's this little dirt road, and there's no infrastructure there. You can just walk around. It's this crazy old ancient ruined city out in the middle of this valley with no infrastructure. You could just park and walk around. There's a little amphitheater. You can see what used to be there. There's a couple of signs, and that's it. Just out there. I mean, it just kind of reminds you how long, there have been civilization in some of these places. It's really, really cool, kind of mind-blowing. And then we went on to Gjirokastër. And the reason that we went to this town is because it's known to be very picturesque. And it's an old town that's built into the side of a mountain. And we did read some reviews that said, driving in Gjirokastër is not for, inexperienced drivers. So we're like, okay, what's that mean? We think it's going to be maybe kind of steep and narrow in these little roads. And so we drive in, we're trying to find our guest house. And I kid you not, we were following Google Maps, which in my experience, I found that Google Maps works better than Apple Maps internationally. And so we're following Google Maps, which we think is the best way to go. And it sent us, we had to turn around 4 times before we actually found our way through to the guest house. 4 times. And I'm not talking like, oh, this road is closed for construction. I'm talking like suddenly we found ourselves in such a narrow alley that it's like, nope, this turns into a staircase. Like we cannot drive here. And yet Google's like, yeah, go ahead. Like you should keep going this way. We're like, yeah, no. So we ended up having to turn around 4 times until we finally found a way to get through to our guest house, which was kind of, it left us breathing hard a little bit. It was a little harrowing, just like these narrow streets and cobblestones. They were very slippery. And but once we finally got parked, and our host, when we got to the place we were staying, our host jumped in and parked our car for us because it was in a tiny little parking spot that we were supposed to park in. But the old town there is so cool. I mean, you expect it to be like, you expect the center of town to be like down below where it's flat, but nope, it's all up on this mountainside. And so the center of this old town, I mean, if you've ever been to like Sarajevo, maybe you've been to Sarajevo, it's like Ottoman style and cobbled streets, really narrow with shops and restaurants just packed in and like vendors all over the streets. And I mean, this is taking up like, I think maybe 4 blocks total. Like it was a very small, actually less than that, probably just a couple of square blocks is the space of this downtown area. It was so pretty and the sun was setting and there's mountains in Albania that just freaking go up to the sky. I mean, the mountains are so dramatic here. They're so, they just rise out of these valleys, like so dramatic, so steep. And there's alpenglow as the sun is setting and the streets are just alive. There's people out. There's dogs in the street. There's things for sale. It was just very lively and the restaurants all smelled so good. And this was our first night in Albania. And we had some Albanian food, which there's a lot of like fresh, there's meats and potatoes. I mean, when we were inland, there was no fish because, you know, if you're not on the sea, it's not fresh. So that's what I mean by basically everything here is farm to table. It's like super fresh. And if it's not grown here, it's not served here, which I love. And so we've had a lot of interesting foods that, I mean, a lot of meat and potatoes, but there's also lots of cheeses, yogurts. There's a lot of Greek influence as well. So, and the olives here are really good. There's tzatziki. There's, lots of fresh grilled vegetables, eggplant, stuff like that. It's been really delicious. So after Gjirokastër, we went over we only spent 1 night there. And then we went to Permet, which was yet another mountain range away and yet another wild drive. We actually followed a river valley this time. And there's a river, I think it's called the Vjosa. I'm not sure about Vjosa. I'm not sure about the pronunciation of it, but it is one of the last wild rivers in Europe, which means it's undammed. And it has been turned into a wild river national park. It's the first wild river national park in Europe. And so the whole thing is protected now, which is really cool because once you see it, I mean, it looks straight out of somewhere glacial. Like for me, it looked like a river in Patagonia, like a braided river, silty, like lots of sediment in it. And so it had like those turquoise and green colors and it's just winding through this valley. And we followed this river through this crazy windy, I mean, these roads, by the way, are barely big enough for like 1 car. It's kind of crazy that it's actually a 2-lane road. But we followed this road from the Gjirokastër Valley into the next valley, which is where Permet was. And we stayed there for 3 nights and we ended up hiking. We found a couple of trails. We went to a place that is known for, I want to say hot springs, but they're not really hot. It's like a thermal springs and the water is like 75 degrees, which feels really good when it's hot out. It's like it's not like chilly glacial water, but you can sit in it, you can put your feet in it. And it's another river that also empties into the Vjosa River. And we did a hiking loop, like 12 kilometers up and back, like around this canyon that it's in. And we're talking like gorge, like it was a gorge. There's so much elevation gain and loss when you're walking anywhere in Albania. It's like just up and down and up and down. And we did this gorgeous canyon loop and then came back and put our feet in the water. I mean, we were pretty hot at that point, and so getting into like warm water didn't actually sound that good to us, but it was, and I mean, there's lots of people around, so we just opted not to actually get in, but we did put our feet in. It just felt so good. And there was one of those beautiful kind of circle bridges. If you've been to Turkey or then you might know what I'm talking about, the stone bridges that underneath, on the underside, they form a half circle. And on the top, they are kind of triangulated so that you can walk across it. And that was the bridge across this river, was one of these circle bridges, which was just so picturesque. Everything there was it's just so gorgeous. Plus, the time right now it's springtime, so it's green. The mountains, the high mountains still have snow-capped peaks. So, I mean, we were losing our minds all the time. I was taking so many pictures because it's just, I mean, there's so much beauty. This country is so pretty. So, and then one fun fact about Permet that I definitely want to share is that before we went there, we were Googling, like where should we eat and, where can we stay and all this stuff. There were so many restaurants there that had like 5 stars, 4.9 stars, like reviews and thousands of reviews. Like, wait, what is this place? How is it that every restaurant here has like minimum 4.8 reviews? So we figured we were just going to eat like queens for the few days that we were there. And we definitely did. And the other thing is that this country is so affordable that anything on the menu, it's like the most expensive thing on the menu is like maybe going to be 20 euros, but a general entree would probably be like more like 10 euros. And they do use the Albanian lek here. So I'm just using that for comparison. But it's really nice to get to a place and be like, you know what, anything on the menu, like we're just going to order whatever we want and taste a bunch of different foods. And we had some really good experiences at the restaurants with the people. And there are a few people I definitely they'll never listen to the show, but there are people that I just want to share about. One, her name is Urania, and she was the housekeeper at our guest house in Permet. And we showed up, and she comes and meets us, and she's just like, oh, and she just gives us big kisses on each cheek. And then she speaks not a word of English, but she's using her body language to say, Albanese, like I'm Albanian, and and we say, they don't necessarily, unless they speak English, they don't recognize United States. And so we said American, and she's like, oh man. And she just got so excited and gave us more kisses. And I'm telling you, before we even had keys to our rooms, we had each received like 12 kisses from this woman. Like, she was so cute. And she treated us so well. And this place was just immaculate. It was comfortable. It was beautiful. The guest houses are the way to go in Albania. There's a lot of family-run guest houses, and they're just beautiful places. So Urania was definitely a highlight for us. And there's a restaurant called Trifilia, that we ended up going to like 3 different times for different kinds of meals, but it ended up being our favorite. And one of the guys who worked there, his name's Krivi, and he, oh man, the first night that we went there for like a light meal, we ordered wine, and then we wanted to order some food, and there were like multiple waiters, working there. And so one of them came over and started clearing, like we had, I don't know, bread plates or something that he was clearing away. And we were like, okay, can we order more? And I mean, this was definitely a miscommunication, but he seemed to understand what we were saying. And so we ordered a couple more things, and he's like, oh, yes, yeah, like gives us a thumbs up. He leaves. He comes back with like a new set of plates. We're like, cool, we're good. Okay, an hour later, I'm pretty sure he's forgotten our food. Like, I actually said this a few times, and my friend's like, no, see, here's the thing. Albania, and especially Permet, like they're known for what's called slow food. And slow food, the idea is just like that it's not fast food. Not just that it's not that it takes a short time or a long time to prepare. It's that a lot goes into the preparation of the food. Like you come and you stay and you enjoy yourself and you have an experience, right? And it's all about like the whole experience, and it's meant to be a meal, and it's not supposed to be a quick thing. Okay, so it's not fast food. It's celebrating slow food, like really just appreciating the cuisine and all of that. And so this place it had like on its logo, it's like slow food, since 1991. And I'm like, multiple times through this hour, I'm like, I think he forgot our order. And my friend's like, no, it's slow food. Like, it's fine. I'm like, this is hilarious, but okay. And finally, we grabbed one of the other waiters. I'm like, I think he forgot. They felt so bad. Like there was definitely a miscommunication. The other guy had no idea we were trying to order from him. He thought we had already ordered and he was just getting us new plates apparently. And so they had our food out within 10 minutes. And then they like poured us. We've been getting wines by the carafe, by the half carafe. They sell them half a liter. All of them are €5, by the way. Half a liter, €5. So he just pours us more wine, we're like, all right, cool, whatever. It's not a big deal. We're here for the slow food. And finally, like they bring our food out, we eat, we close down the restaurant. I mean, we had been there, everyone had come and left like during this time. So it was just a pretty funny experience. And the next day after our hike, we're walking through town and we see the guy again, like we're outside the restaurant just walking by, and he sees us and he's like, oh, hi. And he comes out to greet us and just say hi and see how we're doing. And we were actually on our way to go find ice cream. And so we're like, we're trying to find some ice cream. He's like, oh, this way around the corner, 100 meters, cool. So we go around the corner, 100 meters, we find the ice cream. And as we're choosing our flavors, the guy who's serving the ice cream, his phone rings and he answers it. And it's the guy from the restaurant, and he insists on buying our ice cream. I'm not kidding you. We're like, no, like we can buy our ice cream. Like it's okay. Like we're going to buy our ice cream. And by this point, the ice cream guy, he's like, no, he's a friend of mine. Like he's, pay. Okay, fine. So we got our ice cream. Again, he wouldn't let us tip us and he gave us cookies. All right. And then we ended up going back to that restaurant to have have a half carafe of wine again. And he wouldn't let us pay for that either. We're like, okay, we're going to at least like go get some wine, buy some wine from this guy. And nope, he would not let us pay for it. So all of this is like, wow, like we're not asking for this. We want to pay you. And they're just like, no, like they put their hands behind their backs. Like, no, we're not. It's like, it's just not about money here, And so that's just a neat experience. And we ended up going back to that restaurant the next night for like a full proper dinner as our last night in that town. And then we were able to pay for our whole dinner the next night. So it was great. But we just keep coming across people who are just so kind. And it's the thing that's standing out to us the most, actually, is just the kindness of the people. So anyway, after Permet, we continued. And the reason that we wanted to go there was because we wanted to hike. The point of coming to Albania was to hike. It's not super developed for hiking. And so it is a little difficult. We were kind of looking between Maps.me. That's like my favorite travel map app is Maps.me. Between that app and Google Maps, we kind of put together some hikes and figured some things out. And we were able to do a couple good hikes in Permet. And we're now in Himare, and we've done some walks here. But the point was just to get into the mountains a little bit, to explore and experience the culture and eat the food, and we definitely did that. So, and then we decided to take a different road over to Himare, which Himare is on the coast, like I just mentioned to you. That's where I am now. And we drove yet another absolutely wild mountain road that just went up into elevation so fast, like switchbacks up this canyon. Everything is very gorgy here, like sheer cliff drop-offs. Luckily, they do use guardrails in most places, places, but it is so strange to be on such an alpine road. Like you're on top of mountains, like looking across at the other tops of mountains. And it's just so strange to actually be in a car. Like it feels like you should be hiking way up there. So it was crazy. And then all of a sudden there would be like a little town. Like, wait, what? How is there a town up here? I mean, with like cows and goats and everything. I mean, it's so interesting. It's just wild. And there are also memorials. There are like Albanians love their memorials. There's concrete memorials up in the mountains in so many places we've seen, like painted and like pristine, and it's really interesting. And anyway, Himare turns out to be just this lovely little beach town on the coast of Albania, which I feel multiple times since we've been in Albania, I've likened it to, like, it sort of feels like Italy, but like on steroids. Like everything is just bigger here and more wild. And so the coastline is really similar to if you've been to the Amalfi Coast in Italy, which, I mean, it's not even that far away. It's just across the sea a little bit, but if you've ever been to the Amalfi Coast, or you can picture, Positano, maybe you've seen it. It looks like that here, but the mountains are just bigger. And then the population is smaller. So not as much building, a lot more land, a lot more open space, and just massively bigger mountains, which is wild to even think about. But it is dramatic. Like the mountains here are dramatic. In fact, here's the police story for you. We ended up picking a hike that I cannot tell you about because we did not end up doing it, but it was on the top of a mountain pass, which is just close to Himare. And this mountain pass was like a massive, massive mountain switchback road. And as we were going up it, and the hike was going to be at the top, just like a 5 mile out and back out to like this viewpoint is what we were going to do. It was making me nervous just looking at it. Cause like once we realized what it was, like I could see it as we were driving up to it. And I'm looking at this road cut into the side of this mountain, switchbacks like on a cliff. And I'm already nervous about it. Like I'm scared of heights. And so I'm just like nervous about it already. And as we were going up, yeah, this was scary. The clutch went out in our rental car. So it was it was a manual, and it went out in the middle of one of the switchback turns. It just like wouldn't go into gear, and the pedal became like loosey-goosey. Like there was just nothing there. I wasn't driving, my friend was driving, but she couldn't get it into gear. And so the car, like we just stopped like right in the middle of the curve. It was pretty scary. It was like panicky. I mean, people behind us, like no one was going very fast because it's hairpin turns. They all stopped. Somebody eventually got out and came over to us and, are you okay? And we're just like, we're trying to get the car in gear. And like somehow, I mean, it stalled a bunch of times, and because it had like the automatic start thing that new cars do. And so like, it was super annoying. But we somehow got it into gear again. We got moving. And we pulled over on a straightaway because there was nowhere to pull out. There were no pullouts. But in Albania, one of the things we've observed over the past couple of week of being here, is that people stop absolutely anywhere they want to. Like there was a car that we went around at one point that was stopped right in the middle of the road. And we're like, what are these people doing? Like we're watching them as we're, getting closer to them. And they get out of their car and start lighting up cigarettes. They're just having a smoke break in the middle of the road. We're like, oh my gosh, like it's just so different here, right? It's just so different. And so we didn't feel bad at all about just putting on the flashers and like stopping the car, and people were just going around us and like it was nothing. But that's where, we ended up calling the emergency number because, we couldn't get a hold of the customer service. Like, I'm not going to tell you the whole story because there's actually a lot of details, and the whole thing took 5 hours from start to finish. But it was interesting that we called the police, because once they finally figured out that we needed English and we needed help, someone called us back from the police. And I mean, at this point, we had been able to we got the car turned around and we made it down to a place where we were safe, which was like a fork in the road. And there was a little like drink kiosk there. So there was some shade, there was people, there were a couple cars parked, there were cold drinks. And from there, we like figured everything out. But the biggest problem that we had at that point was that none of the phone numbers were working. Like we couldn't get a hold of absolutely anyone with the numbers that the enterprise had provided for us. And so, and we had called the police because we were in an emergency situation. Like at first we were stranded in the middle of that mountain pass. I mean, we were like 2 switchbacks up out of probably 5. So we were right in the middle of this massive, cliffy, exposed, huge mountain road. It was so scary, you guys. Oh my gosh, it was pretty scary. Our adrenaline was pumping. And that's why, we were like, we need help. Like, we've got to do something. Like, this car is too dangerous to drive. And like I said, we were able to get it turned around and we slowly went back down. And then we left it. And we parked it by this little kiosk thing. But the police called us back with somebody who spoke English and asked us to send them, pictures of where we were, because we were still trying to figure out everything at this point. And ultimately, they were able, I sent them the number of the enterprise customer service. Like they said, what do you need from us? I said, we need help speaking. Like we need help getting in touch with someone. We cannot get a hold of anyone. And this number that they gave us isn't even a real number. There's like things going on. Like there were multiple things going on. They had given us multiple phone numbers and I gave them all to the police. And the police then texted me back. This is all happening on WhatsApp. They texted me back and they said, we've contacted them. We got a hold of them. They're going to call you. And within minutes, they called us. So the police actually really helped us just get in touch with the person that we needed to talk to. And from there, we were able to figure out everything. We got a new car delivered to us. I think they came from Tirana, which was hours away, so we had to wait like 3 or 4 hours for the new rental car to make its way to us. But they delivered the car and we chose, instead of waiting on the roadside, kiosk, we chose to take a taxi to a restaurant nearby that had like a panoramic view. And so it actually turned out okay. I mean, we didn't hike, but we did go to a restaurant with a gorgeous balcony and we just read. We both had books. So we just like read our books and we had some wine. We had comfort food. I got French fries and she got pasta. It was like one of those moments where you're just like, I need to calm down. Like it was kind of a big to-do and definitely got our adrenaline pumping. So yeah, after like 4 hours of waiting, we got a text that they were 10 minutes away. So we went out to sit out front. And as we were sitting out front, this man pulls up in his car. He's got his music blasting and he gets out of the car and he walks into the restaurant. He kind of walks by us and like kind of waves a little bit, looked like a nice guy. And he goes in and he comes out and he's holding 3 bottles of water. And he comes back over to us and he says, ladies, and he hands us each a bottle of cold water. And then he takes his and he goes and he gets back in his car and he like leaves with a wave. Just like that. Like he just wanted to give us cold water. It was so sweet. Such a sweet gesture. Like just the people here. Maybe we looked haggard with our hiking packs, just sitting there like obviously waiting for a ride. And it was, hot. We were sitting in the shade, but it was just such a nice gesture from a total stranger. And yeah, then within minutes after that, our new car arrived and we made it back to our restaurant where we then we made it back to our guest house where we then decided to walk down to town for dinner. We were done with driving for the day. So it was a big experience, but definitely a story for the books. And it all it could have been so much worse. So we are very grateful that it wasn't our brakes, that went out, that it was just the clutch, that we were somehow able to get the car down the hill. Oh my gosh. So yeah, all's well that ends well, right? It was definitely an experience in like, wow, we are having an emergency with a rental car, like in a foreign country where we don't speak the language, but it all worked out with the help of people. So yeah, that that was a success for the day. And then that was just yesterday. Today, we ended up walking again. We drove down to the town close to us here, down to Himarai to explore. And then tomorrow we are getting back on the ferry to go back across to Corfu, and we're flying to Athens tomorrow night. And I'm actually, by the time this airs, it will be long past, but I'm about to lead my bike and boat island hopping adventure in Greece, my Jump Adventures trip. So that's happening later this week. So this is just the pre-Greece adventures. And yeah, Albania has really been amazing. Despite even what happened yesterday, we're both of us, my friend and I have both agreed that this place has completely delighted us. And the thing that I want to share, the biggest impression that I have of Albania is that while money exists to buy you things, right? Money is not a strong currency here, but kindness is. Kindness, people are going out of their way to be kind to us around every corner. And we're meeting such bright, delightful people everywhere that we go. And they're so happy to talk to us. And they're so happy to know where we're from. And nobody has given us bad looks. We say we're from the US, they're happy we're here. And they understand complicated governments and complicated times. It's Albania. They've been through it. Their borders didn't even open until 1990. They had 40 years where their borders were shut both ways, no one in, no one out. And so they've had a complicated history too. And there's no judgment. There's just love and kindness and openness, and people are just so welcoming. And it really has been just a very cool adventure. So I definitely recommend Albania. It's a piece of Europe where you can actually, if you can get here, it's not the easiest. You can fly into Tirana much easier. In this southwest corner where we are, it's a hop, skip, and a jump. But once you get here, it's easy to exist. There's good Wi-Fi. There is infrastructure. The roads can be crazy, but you can get around. It's very affordable. I'm about to give you some details about where we stayed and how much we spent, because all of that's also been just delightful. And I definitely, you could come and stay here for a month or a few months and just hardly spend any money at all and just live a really rich life, I think. It's a great place to explore. The people are wonderful. I'll say that over and over and over. Okay, a little quick rundown of the pricing and where we stayed in case anybody wants to take notes and get some details. When we were in Gjirokastër, we stayed at a place called Guest House Dennis, which honestly, there are so many places to stay in all of these towns. And so you do you. I'm just telling you, we booked day of. And so we didn't have a lot of options, but this place was $30 a night. For everything, everywhere we stayed has had private room, private bathroom. Guest House Dennis also had breakfast included on a rooftop with the views of the whole town and the mountains and the valley. Oh my goodness. So beautiful. And so much food. And the breakfast was included. The breakfast would have been $30 alone in the US. So we got breakfast and our guest house that first night, $30. In Permet, we stayed at a place called Shtepja Ime Guest House. And there's a place in Permet called Honey House that's really popular and has a lot of great reviews. And we tried to stay there, but it wasn't available. And we were kind of bummed because, we were booking last minute. We wanted to kind of just fly by the seat of our pants and go where the wind takes us. And we didn't have this trip scheduled out, which actually felt good. It was pretty cool. But what we got, was the options that were left over. We feel like we scored with this Shtepja Ime guest house. It ended up being about $40 a night. Breakfast was not included, but this place, it would have been easily over $100 anywhere else. Gorgeous rooms, comfortable beds, quiet location right in town, private bathrooms. Like it was clean, and it was a gorgeous setting. Like there were gardens and yeah, so $40 a night. And I said Trifilia was the name of our favorite restaurant there in Permet. That was in Permet. And then the place that we're staying in Himare, this one is called Elea. It's Elea guest house. And this one includes breakfast as well and has the restaurant on site. And it's about, we haven't paid yet, but I think it's going to end up being about $40 a night as well. And this is like private balcony, private room, private bathroom. All of these places have air conditioning, by the way. They also have fridges in the room and water kettles. Breakfast is included, and it's another just gorgeous breakfast. The kind where the egg yolks are like orange, they're just like, oh, it's so delicious. And we've had dinner here once already. We're going to have dinner here again tonight because the food is just delicious. And yeah, $40 a night for this place. So definitely take note of that. There are so many, we've seen so many guest houses around here. So it's not like you're going to be, unless maybe you're in peak season, like there's going to be plenty of options. It is May right now. And so this is why we didn't necessarily plan in advance. We wanted to be able to kind of watch the weather, which has been perfect. It's been like 70s and sunny every single day. And it had rained for weeks right until we got here. So we got so lucky, but it was, I would say now is like the perfect time to come because it's nice, it's warm, things are open for the season, but the tourists aren't here yet. And so it's kind of brilliant. And in this little corner of the world, it's mostly just Europeans that come here. And so, you kind of have especially in a shoulder season, you're going to have your choice of places to stay and all these amazing restaurants to choose from. And and just explore on your own like we did. Our purpose was to come here and find some hiking, which we did. You're going to meet the people, which is absolutely the best part of Albania, in my opinion, and get a feel for this incredibly refreshing feeling of where kindness matters more than money. Like it's just so refreshing that it's just like a different kind of currency here. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing and a beautiful country. So anyway, that's my story. Thank you for pulling up your chair with me on this balcony. I'm going to take a sip of this wine. Yeah, this wine is really actually not that good, but this is what happens when you try wines in other countries that are like random bottles from the store, right? We just like went into a mini mart and grabbed this bottle and it turns out it's not the greatest, but it's okay. It's wine. You got to try the different flavors here and there. So here we are. Okay. So I would love to hear if you like this style of podcast, because this is obviously a solo episode and I kind of just, got out my mic and brought you right here to this balcony with me in this little corner, this gorgeous corner of Albania. So if you do like this, let me know. If you're on Instagram, so am I, at Traveling Jackie. Come find me and say hi and tell me if you like this episode, like if you like this style, because I could, definitely see myself doing more of this. And I think that I really like this new microphone that I got. It clips right to my shirt and it plugs into my phone. So, if the audio is good, give me 2 thumbs up for that too, because it's all an experiment. It always is around here with me. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I am going to sign out from Albania and get ready to go have dinner and watch the sunset over the sea. Thanks for being here.